What's going on YouTube? It's your boy 3MG here, back with another video, and I just want to talk a little bit about Battlefield 1 and like the style of war that came about in World War I. Now, I felt, to me personally, that World War I was a savage war. Like, I think that war was all about the nitty-gritty survival, blood and gore, and as you guys can see in that trailer, they really try to show you a piece of what was really a part of history. Now, parts of this game that were shown in the trailer led me to believe that we're going to be able to have a bunch of customization, a bunch of options and variety of weapons, melee weapons, even gear. I feel like this Battlefield may even let us change up our gear, because there was so many different groups a part of World War I, and so much different artillery, weapons, uniforms used as far as for survival, genocide, and just the risks being taken, and just new manufactured weapons and limited resources. It was so chaotic for World War I, and I feel Battlefield can really project that in their video game, especially once again in their trailer that really showed off as much as they can. I feel they showed off good periods that were going on. I feel like they showed off a lot of different locations, and they showed off a piece of what we're really going to experience and what really happened in World War I. Now, there was this other part in the trailer, I think it was the actual gameplay, where they showed like this yellowy looking smoke, which is believed to be mustard gas. I forgot that there was also like this crazy amount of chemical warfare going on during World War I. The time period that took place, they had tear gases, chlorine, mustard gas, and phosgene and dysphosgene. If I could pronounce it right, I apologize. But all these gases affected the way you breathe, your skin, your lungs, and suffocation. So I want to see how can they really capture the animations when you throw like a mustard gas at a group of people, and you see how their skin react to it, or how they're just how the animation looks when they're dying, because these gases were a big part of World War I. The amount of gear or uniforms that were used, it looked a bit ridiculous. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'll show you some pictures here, and as you guys can see, it doesn't even look realistic. It looks like Halloween costumes that were handmade, I swear to God. These were actually used to protect them from the actual ballistics that were used in the war. It was to protect them from getting sniped by like Springfield rifles and stuff like that, because all that was being manufactured at the time. And to protect themselves from these fucking, what do you call, melee weapons, like the clubs and the trench clubs, and all these other weapons, that like the shovel that you've seen in the trailer. And some people actually commented me and was like, hey, is that like night shield that they were using? No, it's in fact, it was actually a chest plate that they had the lobster chest plate, which was like a pattern of overlapping shields that went from their chest down to their groin area to protect them from getting shot. Because remember, at that time you had now newly made weapons, pistols, Mausers, you had assault rifles, and there were actual assault rifles and submachine guns too. I'll show you some pictures of some that were actually in that time period. You had a bunch of like different weaponry used, so that was a sign, that was a form of protection. They had these ridiculous looking masks that, like, it's funny as hell, and I'm so glad they're bringing that into Battlefield 1. And one thing that really excites me about this next iteration of Battlefield is the fact that I feel DICE may like bring it up a notch, you know, with customization. We actually, instead of having the recon, enforcer, and all those like the regular actual customization slots that we have for each character, like one is a medic and whatnot, because they actually show crutches on the back of one of the characters in the trailer, which leads me to believe that that's their old school way of showing that that's a medic in the game. I think we're going to be able to have a large amount of customization in this game, as far as changing up our gear, having different gas masks, having different armor plates, choosing whether or not what kind of clothing to wear depending on the factions that we go up against. This is going to be so damn dope to me, and I feel like it's really going to like really embrace the time period. I'm really interested to see how they're going to pan out with the customization, the animations of killing enemies, stuff like that, because Battlefield 4, Hardline, even Battlefield 3 did such a wonderful job at depicting war, and I think with World War I is just a huge step also to appreciate the fact that they're not just taking just gun-on-gun warfare with World War I. They're actually taking every piece of war in World War I, every piece of history dealt with World War I, and really bringing it in this game, because I have yet to see a game that I've played that, you know, starts from that time period, that has stuff like all the tear gases that were going on, has all the clubs and melees, has a lot of variety of weapons, and have gear and really shows off the armor and the uniforms used during that time period, all the locations and stuff like that. And reading more information about Battlefield 1, I feel like they're really going to try to bring that to us. And that was a huge risk too, and a big thing that I was skeptical about, because people were saying, damn, World War 1, there's going to be there's going to be less content, there's going to be a limited amount of weapons, there's going to be less of what we are used to getting from a Battlefield game. Even Hardline had enough, you know, weapons and melees and stuff like that in their game, but what are they going to bring in this game? But in fact, there was so much used. There was a lot of nonsense. There was a lot of pointless weapons and melee weapons used in World War 1 just as a way of survival because of limited amount of resources. That's why I'm so hype about this. Like, even the dude holding the shovel, that was actually used in war. So you had submarines that were actually manufactured and developed during that time and during that war. You had biplanes, triplanes, zeppelins. You even had the biplanes that had rockets on it. Like, it was that crazy that time period. And they're trying to bring more destructible environments. I really cannot wait for this. The shotguns used during that time period, I think they're gonna give us a wonderful experience. I hope they work very hard on animation. I think the animation will take us away from what we're used to seeing with any other Battlefield game, as far as just, you know, the stabbing or the coming from behind and taking the metal. Like, if they really can bring us that emotion looking animation where you like, wow, like, we just bodied this dude, like the way we just took this enemy out. That is something to remember. Those are the moments that I want to capture in Battlefield. Like, I want to have those moments. I want to throw a mustard gas or a tear gas at somebody, see a whole bunch of enemies just cough, and I just take them down with, you know, one of the Berettas from Italy, one of the submachine guns that was developed during that time from Italy. Like, I want to just see that go down. You don't understand how happy I am. If you actually know this time period, like I said, it was a war of savagery. Like, it was so ridiculous what they used to try to survive and what they used in that war to take out the other class. Like, it was ridiculous. But let me know what you guys think. What are some things you hope they do in the game as far as maps, aircraft, vehicles, melees, animations going on as far as when you kill an enemy, shoot an enemy, and all stuff like that? Like, what are your hopes for in this game? But let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm out of here. It's your boy 3MG. I'm out. Peace.